started hearing whispers about Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire.
Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. I hope you're all doing well, and in this video we are going to be discussing a little bit about Ahsoka and its first 2 episodes and regarding Grand Admiral Thrawn, with a massive twist here that just broke maybe Star Wars' maybe #1 rule. We're gonna go ahead and hop right on into it. There was a lot of other different Easter eggs, references, and things that you might have missed throughout these first 2 Ahsoka episodes. We have full breakdowns here on the channel now that you guys can check out. This video in particular is really more specific about regarding Thrawn and what we learned about him in these first 2 episodes, as well as a massive reveal for him and his overall character for what we're going to be seeing all of our other characters like Hera Syndulla, Sabine Wren, and Ahsoka really specifically going off and doing. Also what we're seeing with Baylan Skoll and his apprentice Shin Hati, especially now that we're seeing the show really begin to pick up here. Like, these first 2 episodes really scored quite perfectly with exactly with what they're supposed to do, introducing with everything that's going on, our characters, the current situation, and the overall goal, and we're already seeing it move forward and going forward. So as I've been kind of preaching here on the channel for the last couple of months here into the regards of what Ahsoka, the overall show, is really going to be, it's going to be all killer, no filler, and I cannot wait for episode 3. All the more reason to grab that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll have an Ahsoka episode 3 breakdown video for when that episode comes out. We'll also have a preview video for Ahsoka episode 3 into the regards of everything that we know about that upcoming episode, and as well as different fan theories as well. We're also discussing and talking about all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel. All the more reason to grab that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thrawn quite honestly has to be one of the most heavily teased and built up characters and villains at that, I think, in the recent Star Wars lore and franchise overall, having first been introduced or at least mentioned in The Mandalorian Season 2 with Ahsoka questioning Morgan Elsbeth after their duel of the whereabouts or where Thrawn actually is. Morgan Elsbeth eventually does spill the beans on that and does reveal where Thrawn is, or at least how to actually locate him. That brings us up to the events of where and with what we're seeing with Ahsoka, especially with episode 1, as she's finding that star map that locates Thrawn and his location. Something else that we've been knowing about Thrawn is that when we find Thrawn, they're also presumably going to find Ezra Bridger, as they did go missing together at the end of Star Wars Rebels Season 4. In this video, I want to take a quick read from the Direct's article. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. As I read that, Star Wars really did take a once a rebel, always a rebel, quite literally, with Ahsoka on Disney Plus. Ever since Rosario Dawson had brought Ahsoka Tano to live action and into life in The Mandalorian Season 2, also in the Book of Boba Fett, she's been on the hunt for Grand Admiral Thrawn, and we're finally seeing that story being told with her own show. And we're also seeing a lot of different legends, like the Thrawn books, being brought into canon is a massive thing that we've really been seeing with the overall Mandoverse as well. With the Aftermath books as well, that cover a lot with Cobb Vanth and his character also being brought to canon as well, has been very cool to see. We're definitely going to be seeing Hera of the Empire and having that all be brought into canon as well. So throughout Ahsoka and her solo series in that 2-episode premiere, Star Wars fans finally learn where Thrawn and likely Ezra Bridger actually are, having been since the Star Wars Rebels finale and at the end of those events. And it changed everything audiences have ever known since the events of A New Hope, and it really does put a whole new perspective and spin, I think, on Star Wars. I really do believe it, quite honestly, to be one of those things that really just changes the aspects of everything that we've known and come to love with Star Wars. It doesn't make it bad though. It, for anything, makes everything a whole lot more exciting, and is really something that we have seen with the Thrawn books and with how we are seeing those being brought from legends into canon. It's pretty much essentially the same exact story, a few things here and there that are different. Now, if for whatever reason maybe you made it this far into the video and haven't realized that yes, there are spoilers for Ahsoka episode 1 and 2, click off the video now. There's your spoiler warning. The MacGuffin for both episodes of Ahsoka so far is a star map containing the shocking location of Grand Admiral Thrawn. For reference, in Star Wars Rebels, Ezra Bridger had relied on his Force connection with the Purrgil, these whale-like creatures who can travel through hyperspace that we see in The Mandalorian Season 3, also throughout the events of Star Wars Rebels as well. Presumably will also have a huge thing to do with not only just the Ahsoka show overall, but I think that we're going to see a lot with them in Ahsoka episode 3 coming up as well. Anyway, as we do see those Purrgils destroy Thrawn's fleet and ship and whisk them both into the unknown location at hyperspeed, has since then been referred to as like the unknown regions in the galaxy, but this has all been changed now as we learn that this is actually in an entirely different galaxy. In the years following the 2018's Rebels finale, their whereabouts have remained a mystery, but many expected the two to be in these quote-unquote unknown regions. I think the most closest that we've ever gotten to the unknown regions is what we see in Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, despite how controversial the film may actually be. The planet of Exegol, and where we see Palpatine rise again with his hidden fleet and hidden army, is in the unknown regions on that planet of Exegol. But mind you, that's something that we see all taking place in the same galaxy. With Thrawn and having him, like, his location revealed, that's in an entirely different galaxy. So that's exactly what we see at the end of Episode 2 as well, is that Morgan Elsbeth and her team are assembling this thing, or this creation rather, called the Eye of Sion, which is just essentially a giant hyperdrive to help them go over and get into this other galaxy to essentially like rescue Thrawn. Morgan Elsbeth has like this dedication to Thrawn, having him rescued her life before. So really she's essentially just like returning that favor. However, when Morgan Elsbeth opens the star map, it does show that Thrawn was taken to the legendary Peridia, which is an encircled by ruins reassembling Purgles and a location in a completely separate galaxy, as I had mentioned. This is a huge thing because the first information audiences have ever received about Star Wars in 1977 was that this story has always taken place in past and present with specific a singular galaxy and a galaxy far, far away. I think it's also important to note that this is the first time in Star Wars canon specifically that a different galaxy has ever been mentioned and will hopefully be visited on screen very soon, that we will probably see in Ahsoka Episode 3. Now, Star Wars is breaking its own original quote-unquote reel by confirming that there's actually more than just one single galaxy, or at least that our characters are able to go off to and know about actually. It's really, quite honestly, as I had mentioned, is a huge, shocking reveal for the Star Wars lore, and reveals a whole lot more. Like, we think that we know just about everything about the Star Wars galaxy, into the regards of all the different species, or locations, galaxies, or rather systems and planets, but that's all within one specific galaxy. When you bring a whole other galaxy into that spectrum of things, there's a lot more that's kind of going to go on. Like, this galaxy isn't actually ruled by like the New Republic or by like anyone that we know of from the Star Wars galaxy that we already know of where everything is already taking place. This is a whole nother galaxy that's going to introduce a lot of other things, other species, other characters, different locations, and everything of that nature. So apparently Dave Filoni didn't just come to play, he came to change the game. Introducing a whole other galaxy and how to actually get there could change Star Wars as audiences do know it. Granted, huge swings are nothing new to Filoni, given his introduction of Mortis in the Clone Wars, and also the world between worlds in Star Wars Rebels. So this is kind of in line with like those big reveals that just feels like surreal, I think, to a point. But I really feel and think that the Ahsoka show is going to expand a whole lot more on and with this whole other galaxy. However, this reveal of a new galaxy looks to be his biggest swing yet, and one that will hopefully connect to his prior groundbreaking additions in the Star Wars lore with the whole Mortis arc from the Clone Wars and also the world between worlds. I think this has an opportunity to expand more on with those and actually have connections to those as well. No doubt it will be intriguing to see how fans respond to another galaxy far, far away, especially since Star Wars has long established its own perimeters. But the big question is just, what story is Filoni actually looking to tell, and how will this affect upcoming Star Wars stories outside of the Ahsoka show, and with the continuation of the Mandoverse, maybe bringing us into his own Mandalorian movie that was recently announced at the beginning of this year at Star Wars Celebration. So really, given this whole bombshell reveal that he's dropped in the Ahsoka premiere alone, it seems he intends for this film to be far more beyond just Baby Yoda on the big screen just messing around. It's going to be a whole lot more, and fans are in for it. Hopefully his reasons for revealing this whole new galaxy, I don't think it ruins anything with the current Star Wars lore, and if for anything makes everything a whole lot more exciting, and is able to expand on with what you're really able to do. And what he has for it and planned for it will become clearer as Ahsoka unfolds with its future episodes. Guys, this year all being said, I want to know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys thought about the Ahsoka premiere, and also what you're looking forward to seeing with Ahsoka Episode 3 the most in the comment section down below. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.